Hey guys, today we're going to be doing the top 10 units in Dragon Ball Legends. This is going to be the December 2024 edition part 2. This will be the final top 10 list of 2024. We're about to move into 2025. Hopefully it is a better year than 2024 was. So Beast Gohan, of course, is the newest character to drop, Ultra Beast Gohan. The only change from the prior list is his release and how his release has affected the meta. So that's what we'll be reflecting in this list. As usual, top 3 things just want to mention before we jump in. The first one is going to be every character is considered at 14 stars, best teams, best equips, everything in the best possible situation for each character. Number 2, this list is going to consist of characters ranked amongst their current positions in the meta, not just who's better than who. The character number 4 might be better than number 7 character from now in this meta, but that doesn't mean that they can't swap positions in a future list. And then lastly, this list consists of rankings that are entirely of my own opinion. Everything was based on how I've experienced the characters, how I've experienced the meta, how I've experienced fighting against and with these characters. And this is only going to consist of rankings based on the rating match standard mode, not rating match proud mode for PvP. So with those 3 points said, let's move into the top 10 and we'll make our way through to number 1. Starting at number 10, we are going to have LF Tree of Might Goku. This character is still pretty damn good, fits well on a movies team, fits well on Sun Family. We now have 2 very strong red characters that are pretty rampant in PvP right now, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Daima Goku. This guy can get stomped by those 2 characters, but I feel like he has some pretty well-aging defensive capabilities with the type neutral. Defensively, when he switches in, he's got the healing, he's got the card destruction, he's got the support, he's got the long combos with the green card hand refill, the long range priority gaining green card effect as well. And he pairs up pretty well with Turles still. And I feel like you could actually put this guy on the same team as Beast Gohan and just run Beast Gohan on the Turles Tree of Might Goku setup for movies, and that could work pretty well. I feel like he has an okay matchup versus Beast. Obviously, this guy can get sniped by the special beam cannon, but I mean, we'll probably not harp on that too much because every character in the game, especially characters that don't have like comebacks or indestructible, just all die the same. They're all the same. They all die just the same to the special beam cannon, right? So I don't think that's really a main point I'm going to be looking at with this Goku and be like, oh, well, he dies to the special beam cannon, so he's not really that good. No, that's not true. I feel like he could actually have a pretty favorable matchup potentially against Beast. The fact that he has the really potent HP restoration debuffs means that Beast is not going to be able to heal up nearly as much when he hits that 50% HP threshold to activate his Disrupt. But this Goku surely is going to be susceptible to the Arts Cost debuff, which is something that we'll talk about a lot in this video. Beast Gohan, one of Beast Gohan's most potent and I guess damaging, game-changing defensive abilities is his Arts Cost stacking debuff that he applies to the enemy. And it's not just the current enemy, it's to all enemies whenever he gets hit. It's plus 10 to cost for a few counts, and it stacks. So for characters like this Goku who really kind of thrive off of these longer combos, could pose an issue for sure, but I don't think this guy was super affected negatively to the point where he needs to be taken off the top 10. I feel like he still fits on here. I would say a lot of these lower spots in the list are probably going to be a little bit more flexible than they typically are. 10, 9, 8, 7, somewhere in there, this guy is probably going to fit. So I'm going to put him at number 10, Tree of Might Goku. Pretty good character still, but definitely not as good as he was a few months ago. That's just the name of the game with power creep and Legends Fest and all that good stuff. So let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is going to be LF Omega Shenron. I feel like this guy actually has been able to withstand a lot of the overbearing power creep we've seen since he's come out. He's definitely one of the older characters on here, if not potentially the oldest character on here. No, he's definitely not the oldest, but he's one of the oldest for sure. Yeah, I think he's second oldest character on here. Which is insane because he came out in July, which is 5 months ago. So he's the oldest character on here and he came out in July. So yeah, that right there will tell you how ridiculous power creep has been. But yeah, I feel like especially against Beast Gohan, the one tool this character has that not a lot of other characters have access to is uncancelable special cover change nullification. When he activates his unique gauge, he gets uncancelable. Let me pull this up so you guys can see. Right here, applies buff effect, nullifies enemy special actions activate when changing cover for 10 counts, cannot be canceled. So what that allows this character to do is you could actually, if you're going up against a Beast Gohan team where the opponent has no second life mechanics like endurance, comeback, indestructible, you could freely Rising Rush with this character, assuming that Beast Gohan is not switched in at the point when you rush, which could be pretty good. I mean, there's not really going to be a lot of teams, I don't think, where Beast Gohan's not being ran with another endurance character, but potentially can catch the opponent off guard with a Rising Rush if they don't know how this character works. So that's a pretty interesting thing about this character. One other thing that makes this guy pretty useful against Beast Gohan is on the defensive end. This guy has Indestructible, which of course Beast Gohan's Special Beam Cannon cannot penetrate through. Only Indestructible and Comeback. Technically Revival would fall in there as well, but there are no relevant Revival characters right now. So Comeback and Indestructible are like the two big mechanics right now that will allow you to essentially, I guess I'll use the word bypass the Special Beam Cannon. So that's another area where this guy has some decent value. And also just the fact that purple is a really weak color right now. I think all those factors together play into this Omega Shenron sort of being in a good position in this meta. So I feel comfortable with him being at number 9 here. Again, you can kind of move him up or down a spot or two or whatever you want. So somewhere in this range, I feel like is a solid place for LF Omega Shenron. Let's move on to the next spot. All right, so spots 7 and 8 on the list are going to be a shared spot between Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Transforming Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is easily the oldest character on here. Omega was the second oldest. Now we're jumping all the way back. I believe this guy released at the end of February, I believe. Yeah. So this guy is far and away the oldest character on here. This guy has seen a very big resurgence with the release of Ultra Beast. They pair up extremely well with each other. Of course, Beast does have the buff removal from standby when the enemy goes for a rush, when the enemy goes for an ultimate. So the biggest issue with this Gohan that we saw sort of him falling off a little bit when the anniversary dropped, right? So this Gohan was sort of contending for, you know, top 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there. Right up until the anniversary dropped. He was right there with like Ultra Golden Frieza and stuff like that. And the anniversary happened, and then we started getting these like just really bad characters that matched up really well against Gohan. Even characters like Fusing Super Vegito who would just rush, and well, there's how much you could do there. I mean, for part 1, I guess Gohan was still kind of decent, right? Because, you know, really it was just the Rising Rush from Super Vegito. Then we got Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and it became a little bit harder to run this character. And then we saw a bunch of other releases just sort of like from the anniversary, from the end of the anniversary that weren't super favorable for this character, and he kind of just fell off from that point. He was always sort of like hovering around like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. But he never really was at this level, like 7, 8. And I feel like with the release of Beast Gohan, just the fact that you can, number one, give Beast Gohan armor break is just insane. Obviously, you don't want to go for armor break too often, like towards the middle portion of the fight, because you can just get Rising Rushed on him. But it is a very, very helpful thing. And just to pair up with Beast Gohan in the way that Beast Gohan is able to remove buffs from even just being on standby means that this character cannot be sniped by characters like Ultra Majin Vegeta. This character cannot be ultimated and killed by anybody. This character not be Rising Rushed and killed by anybody that removes endurance and stuff like that. So you go for an armor break, you know, a quick attack into armor break blast with this Gohan, and like literally, what does your opponent do? They have you literally have to vanish. There's nothing you can do unless you have like a blue card that nullifies blast cards, which is very uncommon right now. But there are really no annoying purples that exist right now. Tamagami number 3 is like the only purple you really see right now. Ultimate Gohan you see a little bit, but even against Ultimate Gohan, you now have a super strong yellow character to come in and just like soak up all the damage. On the defensive end, Tamagami number 3 is really like the only super annoying purple that exists right now for this guy. But I personally, since Beast has dropped, I almost have never encountered him. Like maybe like once since Beast dropped, I've fought him. So it's not really super common to fight like any purples. And this guy, you guys know how ridiculous his toolkit is. It's been this way since he's dropped. He has a counter blue. He has an AoE green. He has the counter gauge. And we'll talk about Vegito Blue in a little bit, but I definitely think Vegito Blue is also heavily crippled by the release of Beast. So that also does help this character a lot. So overall, I definitely think this guy has seen a almost like doubling in value level of resurgence since Beast has dropped. Just his partnership with him and what they both provide to each other the symbiotic relationship between these two Ultra Gohans is clearly something they had in mind, I think, when designing either one of them or the other or both. But I do think Ultra Gohan definitely deserves a spot, at least somewhere in this range on the list. Then we, of course, have transforming Super Saiyan 2 into Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This guy is still a very strong character. I feel like he does pair up really well with Majin Vegeta. I feel like they're designed to work with each other really well, this guy plus Ultra Majin Vegeta. The one thing this character does really well against Beast is he's actually immune to the arts cost debuffs stacking. So this guy can pretty freely damage Beast. This guy is stacking HP restoration debuffs on Beast Gohan as well, which heavily cripples his ability to sustain himself on the defensive end. The only downside to this character is, of course, I feel like the most value you get from his endurance nullification, which is really where most of the value of the character, I think, comes from a lot of times, is just nullified when Beast is on the team, because you go for a rush in this guy to, like, you know, against someone like Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks or even someone like Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and you're not going to be able to kill just due to Beast removing the endurance nullification when he rushes, even from being on standby. So that definitely is a big hit, I think, to this Goku, but overall, I think he's still pretty good. Same argument I would make, I think, essentially back before Ultra Beast Gohan dropped, and it's hard for me to really rate this character because you're just running a worse version of Vegito Blue most of the time. Although I think there's probably less of an argument for that now, because I think Vegito Blue is not nearly as good as he was before Beast dropped. Again, we'll talk about Vegito Blue when we get to him on the list, but there's a bit of a bigger separation, I think, between Vegito Blue and this character, because I think actually Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you could make an argument that he might actually be a little bit better against specifically Beast, just because, again, the things I mentioned, immunity to arts cost debuffs and then the healing debuffs that he's applying to him. So a pretty good character still, but I don't know who's better between him and Super Saiyan, because I think Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is just, he has better tools in his toolkit. AoE green plus counter blue plus gauge, to me that's just superior to what this Goku is doing, right? This Goku, sometimes it can be difficult to get priority with him in Super Saiyan 2 form. He doesn't have cover null, so it's like hard to maintain combos with him. I don't know. He's got his issues, but obviously Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I think, got helped way more by Beast Gohan than Super Saiyan 2 Goku did, and that's why I put him up here. But you guys can debate where you want to place them. I think this is a fair spot for them, but you know, you can move them up or down a few slots, whatever. So let's move on to number 6 now. All right, number 6 is going to be Ultra Turles. I don't really have much to say about this character. He pairs up well with Beast. I think there's a lot of greens right now, but there were a lot of greens on the last list that didn't change. Like Beast dropping didn't increase the amount of greens that you saw. I think overall Vegito Blue is a little bit less efficient, a little bit less dominant than he was before Beast dropped, so that could help this character a little bit. I just don't really think enough happened to where I would be comfortable moving this character up on this list at all. Certainly wouldn't move him down at all, because again, he's better technically a little bit right now than he was before Beast dropped, because he pairs well with him. Technically, you could even say that Turles does actually match up decently well against Beast, just because of what I mentioned with Omega. The comeback and indestructible mechanics right now are the only two meta relevant abilities where you can kind of use them to bypass the special beam cannon. So I think it definitely gives a little bit more value to Turles. Like, usually when you're going up against like a Turles as a beast, or you're going up against a character that has a comeback like Turles against an enemy Beast Gohan, you'll notice that they're a little bit hesitant to even use the special beam cannon when they have the ability to against a character like Turles that they know they're not going to be able to kill. So that is, again, a positive for this character. But overall, I mean, there's not really much else I need to say here. Just a really strong defensive character still. He is now off boost, actually. That is worth mentioning, because there is, whenever we have defensive characters that fall off featured boost, that is the most noticeable thing, right? Sometimes you'll notice a little bit of a damage drop off. It's not the biggest deal ever, but when you're talking specifically about defensive characters like Garlic Jr., this Turles, when they fall off the featured boost, there's a much bigger impact for those kinds of characters, because you're losing the pure defensive buffs from the featured boost. So that I think is a bit of a bigger issue there, but I still think Turles is able to tank exceptionally well for how he's designed, for the characters we've gotten during Festival. And I don't really, I think Turles is still a very solid unit and works well with Beast, works decently well against him. He's in a decent spot given how many greens exist. And I think, you know, with the reds that are running around too, I feel like he's a good character. It's just a solid release that's aging pretty well. So Ultra Turles is going to be number 6. Let's move on to number 5. All right, so coming in at number 5, we are going to have Transforming LF Vegito Blue. This is definitely going to be probably the most controversial part of this list. Not exactly sure how you guys are feeling about this. I haven't really looked into what the community is thinking about how Transforming Vegito Blue was impacted by Beast Gohan's release, because I'm making this video pretty early on after Beast has dropped, because I recorded a ton of videos like the first 2 days of him dropping, so I kind of have a good idea, I think, of how things are going to play out here. But to me, I feel like you could probably place this guy anywhere within the 3 to 5 range. I don't really think there's that big of a difference between this character and the character at 4 and the character at 3. It's pretty flexible, I think, in there to put him anywhere, so that, to me, it doesn't really matter wherever you want to put him in there. But for me, I think I probably would settle for this guy at 5, but again, it's not that different. This guy's value prior to Beast dropping was he just didn't care about anything. You just comboed and you won. And you just comboed forever. And that's it. GG. Just combo until the opponent died every time. Now it's a little bit different. The one thing that this character is susceptible to at all times is the arts cost debuff stacking that Beast has, right? Beast Gohan is debuffing the opponent minus 10 to all arts cost every time he's hit by an arts card. That is clearly intended to cripple characters exactly like this character who thrive off of combos. It's why characters like Tree of Might Goku also suffer from the same thing. Characters like Super Saiyan 3 Goku, in theory, would suffer from this if they didn't, have immunity to the debuffs, which is why that's so valuable, which is why another character called Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is able to do, I think, exceptionally well against Beast. It's because he doesn't care about those debuffs either. But unfortunately, Transforming Vegito Blue is very susceptible to those debuffs. So instead of comboing, like, think about the difference between this character comboing against Beast and this character not comboing against Beast. This character went from doing almost like you were expecting him to combo for 99 plus every single time he touched you a single time. Now he's hitting you with like 3 to 4 cards, and that's the extent of what he can do, because the cost gets up to like 49 costs for like strikes and blasts, and you just can't sustain that. It's impossible. So that to me is the main difference between this character pre Ultra Beast Gohan drop and post Ultra Beast Gohan drop. This character still does have exceptional value against characters like Majin Vegeta and Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. But again, against Beast specifically, you can definitely feel that he's almost a different character entirely, which is why we have a massive drop in terms of my placement for him. I think he was number 1 on the last list. Now he's number 5. And then on top of that too, it's not just the combos themselves, but in turn, that also means it is a lot more difficult to actually build this character's gauge up. I never really thought it was too difficult to build it up, because you just use a green card and you transform and get a bunch of ki and use like 2 cards, and you're pretty much there at the gauge. But I have definitely seen a few instances where people just they just can't get the cards in that they need with base Vegito to get the gauge up, and it really hurts you in the long run, because if you can't invest early in this character, then he's almost hurting you more than he's helping you, because you can't leverage the combos, you can't leverage the forced card draw, you can't leverage the ki, you can't leverage all these nullifications that he brings to the table. So I do think this guy was heavily hurt by Ultra Beast Gohan. I wasn't going to really mention the Special Beam Cannon, because again, 99% of the game is going to just get one shot by the Special Beam Cannon. But I'll just throw in there as well that this guy gets touched one time by a Beast Gohan that is ready to launch the Special Beam Cannon, and he's dead. So I think he's still really good. I think he's still got a lot of tools, obviously, in his back pocket that he can bring out. I think he can have him anywhere between the 3 and 5 spots, but I'm going to put him at number 5 because he doesn't really have a favorable matchup against Beast, and it is very tangible on both ends, as the Vegito Blue player and as the Beast Gohan player. So I am going to put Transforming LF Vegito Blue at number 5 here. If we continue to get characters that have counter gauges and all these different kinds of gauges that are annoying, then obviously he'll continue to gain incredible value as we move forward. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm going to have him at number 5. Let's move on to number 4. Okay, number 4 is going to be LF Super Saiyan Daimagoku. I think did I have him at number 4 on the last list? I think I might have. He was number 3 or 4, I think. Yeah, he really hasn't changed much. He theoretically does have a good matchup against Beast Gohan. It is maybe a little bit harder to snipe and kill Beast Gohan with this character than you would think. Beast is type neutral on entry. Beast is destroying blues on entry. Beast is lowering blue card power by 40%, I believe is what it is on entry. So you definitely can do it. You could lock him in with this character and kill him with a blue card. It's just not as free and easy as you would expect. This character is not a character designed to do long combos, which helps him in the Beast matchup because he just locks in and kills with blue cards. This character just does like insane damage with every card. Like, again, he's not like a... He's the opposite of what we're about to talk about with Gotenks and the number 3 spoiler alert, Gotenks number 3. Gotenks is a character that thrives off of doing long combos. He doesn't really do explosive damage with like one card, whereas this character does do very explosive damage with like one card, which is the way you get around the cost debuff stacking that Beast has. I guess you could kind of talk about the fact that maybe this character's partnership with Tamagami number 3 was hurt a little bit by Beast coming out, but you can really throw this guy on just like any Sun Family Saiyan team. I guess one thing to talk about is like him as a partner with Beast is a little bit strange in that they both are doing the same thing with the buff removal. So both Goku and Beast are removing buff effects from the enemy when they use a Rising Rush from standby. So what ends up happening is they both end up using the same mechanic. So essentially one is wasted almost. So there's a little bit of a weird interaction there, but I don't really think anything too bad comes from that. This Goku is just like a really solid inclusion on whatever team. If you're not pairing him up with Tamagami number 3, there definitely are instances where he can be really exposed defensively. Beast Gohan does go type neutral on his main ability, so if Beast just uses his main and goes for the ult and you have no one else really to switch to, this guy's going to die, most likely, because this guy is not removing buff effects when the enemy uses an ultimate. That's what Tamagami number 3 is supposed to be there for. So Beast Gohan's type neutral will not be removed, and this guy will most likely just get destroyed by Beast's ultimate. So that's something to be aware of, right? If you're not running Tamagami number 3, this guy can really not tank Beast's ultimate. But I think for the most part, this character is pretty damn flexible and good in all regards. So I feel pretty comfortable with him being at number 4. But we'll talk about Gotenks as well in a second. He'll be the next one on the list. Because I think there's probably like this character's most comparable to Gotenks because they're both reds, and it's kind of like a new yellow came out. How does each of the red characters fare against him? So number 4 is going to be LF Super Saiyan Daima Goku. Let's move on to number 3 next. All right, so number 3, like I said, is going to be LF Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. This character's value throughout the entirety of Legends Fest was just insane. This guy specifically does match up very well against Beast Gohan. Again, I'll mention this. If you guys have looked at any of my prior top 10 lists, including Gotenks, I always bring this up every single time. I'll just read it again. Applies the following effects to self from battle start for 100 timer counts. Nullifies attribute downgrades and abnormal conditions. So Red Gotenks is not only type advantage versus Beast Gohan, he's also not caring about the arts cost debuff stacking because he's immune to that. So this Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is really the only character that is centered around long combos that doesn't care about the arts cost stacking from Beast Gohan. That is a very, very strong aspect of Gotenks, because when Gotenks gets his hands on Beast, there's really not much Beast can do except switch. Which, to be fair, Beast does a good job of switching because he's lowering sub count so much when he gets hit twice that it's really not that hard to just like take 2 hits from Gotenks, which are going to be type neutral anyway, and switch. But I mean, that's still a W for Gotenks because he's forcing Beast to switch out there. And then you can set yourself up for a favorable position against a different character that switches in with one of your own other characters potentially. So Gotenks, again, just a really flexible character. He's feeding green cards to your team. He's feeding them with support in the form of sustained damage cut penetration, damage inflicted. He's got endurance. He pairs up well with Beast Gohan. Remember, Beast Gohan removing enemies' endurance nullifying effects. Majin Vegeta goes type neutral and tries to snipe Gotenks. He's not going to be able to kill him because Beast Gohan is removing his endurance nullification. So overall, Gotenks, I feel like, has just gotten a decent amount better from Beast Gohan releasing. And you guys know how this character works at this point, so I'm not going to harp on everything he does, but this character is insane. Like, he just keeps getting better almost every single release. And pretty excited to see how this character is going to continue to age moving forward, because he's not doing anything that's like out of this world, crazy, different, or unique. He's just solid all around. He doesn't care about any debuffs. He's got double card draw speed. He's supporting. He's got the gauge. He's got the endurance null and main ability if you can make use of it. He's just overall really, really good. So I'm going to put him at number 3. I probably can't put him higher. Probably not, right? I feel like number 3 is like a perfect spot for this character right now. So Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks going to be at number 3 here. Let's move on to number 2. Alrighty, so coming in at number 2 is going to be Ultra Majin Vegeta. I'll just start off by saying I don't think there is some massive canyon gap between this guy and Beast Gohan, who obviously is going to be number 1 on this list. So if you have this guy over Beast or, you know, whatever it is, maybe a shared spot, I don't really think that's, you know, I'm fine with that. Sure, whatever. To me, I wouldn't have them shared. I think to me it's pretty clear Beast is the more influential character right now in the meta. But Majin Vegeta, of course, is just still an absurd unit. I think when it comes down to it, the main reason why I have them separated here is just because Beast makes it significantly harder for this guy to do what he wants to do, which is just to snipe characters and end matches as fast as possible. This character, previously to Beast Gohan dropping, you would typically have long combo setups where you have like Vegeta Blue paired with Majin Vegeta or Super Saiyan 3 Goku or whatever the situation was, and you would just be fishing for a situation for where this guy could come in and either kill via just like 2 quick strike cards or kill via his main ability snipe, right? That was essentially how the game worked until Beast Gohan dropped. Beast Gohan has dropped and you can't really do that anymore. There's no situation where you're just comboing for like 100 billion counts now, because you just can't. Like the only character that gets around the arts cost increase is Gotenks, and Gotenks can't do that by himself. Gotenks, the way it used to work is you would pair up a lot of these combo Beast characters with each other. It would be like Majin Vegeta Gotenks and Vegeta Blue. It would be Gotenks, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Vegeta Blue. It would be, you know, some combination of those 4 units essentially, because the characters that really just thrive off of combos is what you would use to essentially set up Majin Vegeta's snipe ultimate. It's not really as common to do anymore because it's just very hard to do now with the cost increase stacking that Beast has. And Beast also does prevent Majin Vegeta from just straight up killing characters with his ultimate because of the buff removal that he can have on standby. So again, Majin Vegeta goes for an ultimate to try and kill Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. It's not going to kill him. Same thing with like Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. It's not going to kill him. Daima Goku, who has endurance, not going to kill him either. So it becomes a lot tougher for this character to really do his job the way that he's been accustomed to doing it for the past 2.5 months now of him being out. Or I guess just 2 months, right? He's been out for 2 months. Yeah, okay. And then I guess the other thing to mention, which again, I'll just throwing it out there. This guy is not any better off against the special beam cannon than any other character. I mean, he just dies. Nice gauge, man. Let me just special beam cannon you and you're dead. That's usually how it goes. Again, same thing, same way it happens to every other character in the game, but he just dies to it. So yeah, I mean, that's a way to bypass his gauge. You just kill him. You just kill him through it, right? So this guy's clearly still really ridiculous. AoE green. I think his AoE green card probably is just the single biggest issue in the game right now. Still, priority, full hand, cover null, type neutral. Like what the hell? And immune to card destruction. Like what the hell were they thinking? It's just the most oppressive green card we've ever seen is this guy's AoE green card. Of course, the gauge is ridiculous. You could argue that Vegeta Blue getting hurt a little bit by Beast's release could potentially help this guy a little bit, which I could definitely see that argument as well. But I think when you look at Beast's release in a vacuum and how it played into how good this character is and how much value he's bringing to the table, I think it's definitely gone down a little bit. Susceptible to special beam cannon. You can't really snipe people as freely and easily anymore. You can't really set it up as consistently. But this character is still really, really insane. This is one of the least skill-intensive characters ever. And I mean that. I mean that without being as mean as I can. This is probably the single least skill-intensive character they've ever released. This character plays the game for you more than any character, probably. Probably. But that doesn't make him any less good. So I'm putting him at number 2. Let's move on to number 1. All right, so coming in at number 1 is going to be Ultra Beast Gohan, the newest addition to the game, the pinnacle of Legends Fest 2024, the final release to cap everything off. This guy is really insane. I don't really know. Where do we want to start here? So I think for me, what I've noticed from this character, and this is not something that you're really going to notice actively, this is more of something that you're going to notice passively, more of an intangible thing he's bringing to the table. And I think I even talked about this a little bit when I did my breakdown video with him, and it has to do with his counters to ultimates and rising rushes. So I think you're probably not going to see the counter that often. You're certainly not going to see it every single match. It's just not something you're going to see that commonly. I think what I'll actually do is I'll actually compare this to just the simple cover change mechanic, special cover changes. How often do you actually see special cover changes apply? Right? I mean, every character that's worth anything has a special cover change, whether it's against a strike, whether it's against a blast, whether it's against both, limited times. Every character that releases, every premium character has a special cover change, but there are very few instances where you actually get to see them. And the reason why is because people play around cover changes. They're either playing around it by only attacking with characters when they have special cover change nullification active, or they're drop comboing, or they're using other cards that wouldn't trigger the special. So if you're attacking a character that has the strike special cover change, you're going to be using blast cards. So the existence of the special cover changes are not strong because of the actual cover changes themselves. It's because it forces you to play a certain way to not have those effects activate. That's the exact same way I feel about this Beast Gohan's counter mechanic. You are not going to, in most cases, you're not going to just trigger it whenever, right? Because you have to either rush him or use an ultimate and just sacrifice your ultimate, which a lot of times is just, that's really not what you want to do. So this is a really strong ability because it essentially forces you to not use your ultimates in matches, which is insane, right? You have a wide open kill that you could potentially get on a character like Daima Goku, on a character like Gotenks, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. You just ultimate and the opponent can't do anything about it. But with Beast on the team, you can't. He's going to be able to immediately switch in and counter you. But the counter itself is not what's strong about it. It's the fact that you can't get that kill. You can't secure it. You can't get the value from the ultimate off. So what ends up happening is you just don't use the ultimate. And that is the strength of this character's counter. He's changing the way that you view ultimates, rising rushes, and how you use those mechanics in the game, right? I think there are definitely instances where it's probably better just to use ultimates to get rid of the counter if you think you're going to get better value of it, like the rising rush moving forward later on in the match or something like that. But at that point, the opponent might just not even use the gauge, right? The opponent can just opt to not even switch into Beast Gohan or something like that. So this character has that mechanic, that counter mechanic on the defensive end is insane. Talking about defensive utility, this character has, I've been talking about it the entire time. I'll just pull it up so you guys can see it on the screen. I think it's in the first unique ability. Right here. Falling effects occur every time when hit with an enemy's arch attack while this character's in the battlefield. So he's healing himself. Shortening allies sub count by 2, activating twice is insane. He can almost immediately switch out every single time he gets hit twice. But it's the last part. It's the last part. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 10 to all arts cost for 5 counts. I think in my initial breakdown, I missed that stacked. That single-handedly almost changes the entire game. Plus 10 to all arts cost for 5 counts because it prevents characters like Vegito Blue, like Majin Vegeta, like Super Saiyan 3, well, not Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but Tree of Might Goku from just comboing you forever and ever and ever. And the fact that it's all enemies means that even if you're attacking with a different character, you can't then swap to a different character and reset the debuffs. They're still applied to everyone. So this guy has single-handedly, with this mechanic, I feel like changed the structure of the meta from being combo-based to way less combo-based and more based on strong one hitter quitter cards like this guy's blue card, stuff like that. So this guy from a defensive standpoint is really, really strong. And then we could talk about his active gauge, which, I mean, when this guy was first revealed, we were thinking, oh, it's literally just going to be a guaranteed kill. There's nothing you could possibly do about it. And to be fair, a lot of times that is what it is. It is essentially literally just it's a better hit time skip, basically. It's a better version of hits time skip, which already was ridiculous. It does take a while to charge. And I think the fact that it charges faster when you take hits is probably good because it balances it out a little bit. So if you're not like if you're already winning the fight, you're not going to be winning more thanks to it. It's kind of like almost a comeback mechanic. But I think that's what puts this character over the top for me, right? Because they're really, when you look at the top 10, again, the only mechanics that are able to get around the special beam cannon are the comeback mechanic that Turles has and Indestructible on Omega Shenron. Those are like the only two characters that could even withstand the special beam cannon. You just drop combo into it and you're killing somebody. Even from full health, it's almost a guaranteed kill. Like, it's doing 3.5 million damage off of a drop combo with it. And your opponent can't interrupt it if you drop combo it correctly. So it's I don't know if I want to call it unfair, but it is kind of cheesy because it is just a better hit time skip, essentially. You don't need a green card for it. You can't get your endurance nullification on it. Can't be debuffed because it's not classified as a blue card or an ultimate or awakened card. So yeah, you just get a free kill off of it. So everything we talked about with Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Daima Goku and who else? Transforming Vegeta Blue, all these characters, as good as they are, and all the defensive mechanics they bring to the table, Majin Vegeta with endurance and buff removal and his counter gauge, auto counter gauge, he just simply dies to it. He just gets one shot by the special beam cannon. So, on top of that, he has just good offenses in general. He's hitting really hard. His blue card hits like a truck. His blue card gives him a Dragon Ball for God knows what reason. I don't know why that's on there. Why does he just get a Dragon Ball from the blue card? Makes no sense. His green card is maybe not necessarily the strongest green card. Like, definitely Majin Vegeta's green card is like 300 times better than this Beast's blue card or this Beast's green card. But I think when you take a look at the full picture and the full package of what Beast Gohan is bringing to the table, he right now is shaping the game more than any other character that we've talked about today. And to me, that is what's going to put him at number 1 for me. But I don't think there is some massive canyon difference between Beast and Majin Vegeta, and that just goes to show you how stupid they made Majin Vegeta, because Majin Vegeta doesn't have anything like the active gauge or any of these ridiculous like new game bending abilities. They just gave him all the annoying and like free win button mechanics that we hate. So yeah, I do think Beast just takes the edge over him though. So just to recap the list, number 10, we have LF Tree of Might Goku. Number 9, we have LF Omega Shenron. 7 and 8 were a shared spot between LF Transforming Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Number 6 is Ultra Turles. Number 5 is LF Transforming Vegeta Blue. Number 4 is LF Super Saiyan Daima Goku. Number 3 is LF Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Number 2 is Ultra Majin Vegeta. And number 1 is Ultra Beast Gohan. If you disagree with any placements on here, let me know which parts you disagree with and why. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.